I have something called like my 5 buckets. And I know that if I'm like, I literally picture like buckets. And if I'm putting, effort or water into these buckets at all times, and I just kind of like cross check, like it's not like I write it down. I just kind of mentally, I'm like, all right, have I been doing this bucket? Have I been doing this bucket?
Hey everybody, my name is Tom LaFaso. This is the Follow the Winners podcast. Today I'm here with Jawad Khalfan. He is a new friend of mine that I met through a networking group called Huga. I'm super excited to have him here. We've been trying to link up for probably like a couple months now, and we finally made it happen right here in the new studio, so I'm super excited. Jawad, please introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, my name is Jawad Khalfan, and like Tom said, I'm a relatively new friend. We did have that phone call though when we couldn't link up for a while. I was like, yo, let's just talk on the phone. We got to get in touch then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm here today. I'm very, very excited to be here. Tom has been telling me about how he's started this podcast and how it's been rocking and rolling, and he's invited me over and made the time to come today.
Sick.
So I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, man. I'm happy you came. So tell me, like, who are you? Like, what do you do? All kinds of things along those lines. Like, who are you? What kind of person are you?
I love the question. No one asks that often point blank, but I'm Jawad, Yeah. I guess what I really define myself, I feel very connected to New York. I was born in Elmhurst, Queens.
Cool.
Moved to Franklin Square in 4th grade, and that was a big change. I really liked Queens at the time. I had friends. I had this, I had that, whatever. I was in 3rd grade. Life was okay.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Long Island, and the day I moved in, I realized my neighbors had pools. My neighbors had trampoline, invited me over. I had never seen a trampoline in anyone's house growing up my entire life. And then my neighbors, first day I moved to Long Island, and there's people doing fireworks in the street because we moved actually right around 4th of July. So, and then ever since then, I've been attracted to both the city life and the suburban life. The suburban life is comfortable. You play a lot of sports. You walk to and from school. There's trees around you. It's amazing. But then every time I go into the city, I love people watching, seeing millions of faces. It actually is a reminder that the city is much bigger than you, know? So it's kind of bigger picture. Everyone's got a job, contributing to society, good days, bad days. So I like I said, New York's a big part of who I am for sure. And my family is from India and Tanzania. So I got a little bit of a mixed background. Originally from India, then when there was, issues there, political issues, and people were moving out, my family all got on boats and they went this way. They didn't know where they were going. They hit Eastern Africa, and they landed right by Tanzania and Zanzibar.
Oh, shit.
And, and that's a big part of us, too, we still go back there. A lot of people, I'm also Muslim. My religion's a big part of who I am.
Yeah.
And
was your family in Tanzania for a while?
A very long time. I would say
generations?
Maybe how many? 3 generations?
Wow.
What does that equate to? 70 years maybe?
Probably.
Ish?
100 years.
Because my dad moved to New York when he was 4. Yeah. My mom when she was 17. And before that, up until probably my great-grandparents, they were all born in Tanzania or Zanzibar or surrounding islands.
Wow.
And things, when they tell me stories, their stories are crazy. How they had to struggle. My grandfather specifically, he's we had 8 siblings. I think his father died, and he was the 3 oldest brothers pretty much became had to take care of everything. A lot of shit for 8 kids, and they took care of their mom who maybe wasn't always well and stuff. So he ended up moving to Madagascar actually.
Wow.
For work, and was sending money. Imagine just your sibling has to go move to a different country because you got a good job over there and it
and pay for
helps
the family.
and pay for stuff. So you'd send money over.
Yeah.
But then eventually it's cool the way it was they were figuring out the world. One brother went to New York and traveled through the United States and visited different cities, and they were considering, should we move here? Should we move here? Then he comes back. There's no cell phone or email, so he's got to literally physically come back just to tell his brothers, I liked it, I didn't like it. And that's obviously super expensive. So
Yeah.
they were like, all right, like we got to make a decision. No time for like traveling more. It's like, are we moving to America or not? And he was like, yeah, I think it's worth it. And when they moved here, even those stories then. So the move story is crazy, how they came to New York.
How long ago was this?
I know the year, 1971.
Okay.
1971, my
This isn't
grandparents.
even that long ago.
Yeah, not too bad. 1971, my grandparents moved to New York with my dad being 4 years old. And they all lived together, like all these siblings. They all like, I think they had like a full apartment building rented out, like every floor was like our family. And then, yeah, it was crazy. And they all stuck together. And then like our mosque community was big over there in Tanzania. And people then actually started following my grandfather.
Wow.
Like, because we, like I said, 8 siblings. So a lot of people knew who they were. And they were like, where did all these guys go? All those Khalfans. And like, oh shit, they all moved to New York. And then, people just started following, one by one. They're like, oh, and Ali moved. And so now there's a huge Khalfan, like even my extended family from Tanzania lives in New York.
Yeah.
So it's
sick.
big. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. And we all really stuck together. Like the mosque community that I'm a part of, a majority of the people are all Indian, Tanzanian, like New Yorkers.
Yeah.
People that had that same like migration path.
Yeah.
And so they have a lot in common, very tight knit.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever we talk,
nice.
I always bring up my mosque stuff,
Absolutely.
my sports, the events.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I envy that types of thing. I've said this before. I probably have even said this on this podcast. I envy Muslim community and the Jewish community for that specifically, how they're so tight-knit, they stick together, they work together, you need something. Bro, I'm a Catholic, I go to the church, like, I don't feel that. I don't know the people that are sitting in the pew next to me. Like, I literally don't know them.
Yeah.
I live in the same town as them, but I don't know that. I actually envy that because it's so nice to be able to have that networking resource without having to do any networking. You're like, I'm in this community now, and you're accepted with open arms, and people want to help you and see you succeed. And not
100%.
saying that the Catholic community doesn't have that. It's very more obvious, and especially the Jewish and the Muslim community with their inside the churches or in the mosques or whatever, So, I mean, that's awesome, man. I think it's super, super important to have faith and have a community that you can at least like bring together and have similarities and commonalities. And that's why I'm so like excited to get out into the world and meet people, because then I get to meet people like yourself that we have so many commonalities. Like we're both out here grinding. Like I love those types of things as much as like, yeah, I love my friends and the people that I hang out with. But like as I get older, those commonalities are like slowly growing apart, So it is, it's nice. You need that. You really do. But that's awesome, man. And how many, you have siblings, right? Don't you have a bunch of siblings?
I have 2 siblings.
Oh, okay.
I had 2 siblings. I have an older sister, Sayeda. She's about, I can't tell you that. And I have a younger sister who is 10, Asia.
Okay.
And my older sister lives in Florida.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. And
Where in Florida?
Oviedo,
okay.
I believe. Yeah, Oviedo.
South Florida somewhere?
No, very central.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 30, 45 minutes from Orlando.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very nice. Honestly, I love going down to Florida, man. It's
me
so
too.
chill, so quiet.
I know. My mom and sister are down there, so I know.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that.
I know the vibe.
Yeah, man. It's
and you were
nice.
telling me your younger sister, you go out, like, you bring her places and
Yeah.
try and give her some life advice, which
We
is
have.
good.
She definitely doesn't want the life advice, but she does like being taken out and shopped for and stuff like that. We have a funny relationship.
Yeah.
She was. I literally just saw her right before I came here. She was watching something, and I'd mess with her. Like she'll like be yelling at me, "Leave me alone," and I'll be like, "If you want me to leave you alone, just say leave me alone." Like I'm actually really bad with like teasing her. It's pretty crazy, but it's fun, honestly. Like I know she likes it.
Hell yeah. I mean, you have to, right?
Yeah.
You
of
have
course.
to.
Keeps it fun.
Yeah. So, cool, man. I mean, that's definitely like a good, like, I like that. It's probably a detail a lot of people don't know about you. I didn't know that, so
Yeah, man.
that's awesome.
I mean, like you said, it's like you asked me who I am, and I'm like, well, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah, but
You
that
get
is
caught up.
right.
Yeah, that's like my base. It really is my base.
Absolutely. As you were talking, though, I have a lot of commonalities in my family history because my great grandfather came here. I mean, most of my family hasn't been here since like. I think on my mom's side, there's a few people that came here in the late 1800s. Everybody else is like early 1900s.
Oh, wow.
My grandma came here as a refugee in like 1940. Yeah, 1940 something. That's a crazy ass story in itself. But I always think about my great grandfather because he came from Italy, and he was the oldest of, like, I forget. I think he had like 6 siblings. And very similar, where they just like sent out the kid to go like explore the world. They're like, all right, you're gonna go figure this out for us.
Yep.
Like, if it works out, great. If you die, then like, okay, like, and like I think about that. He was I think he was 18 when he came to America. And when he came to America, it was like 1917, I want to say, so right before World War I. And like, how terrifying that has to be for a young adult to just come to a place you don't know anybody, you're completely alone, like, terrifying. And he went into World War I to get his American citizenship. They like put it out there. They're like, if you want to become a citizen, fight in the war for however many years, I guess probably like 4 years, whatever, and you get your citizenship. So he did that, and like, it's crazy. Like, you're fighting a war for a country that you don't even like consider you're from that country. You know, like, you're Italian, and now all of a sudden you're fighting with the Americans. So it's just really interesting how people can, I guess, in that time period, you know, people heard about America being so great that they just, you know, wanted to send people, you know, their family members to go check it out and hope that they're getting that great, you know, life and all that. But at the same time, like, you're telling this story, and I'm hearing you, but I'm also hearing that, like, we wouldn't be here. Like, me and you wouldn't be here without this. You know?
Look at the luxuries that, like, you and I have, like the life path, the opportunities, the options, the freedom. Like, you know, if your Italian grandfather didn't like suck it up at that time, you know what I mean, and just do it and fight, like, literally, we wouldn't be here, man. It's actually really crazy.
Yeah, so it definitely is.
Like, we, you know, even our parents, you know what I mean? Like, they were still like trying to figure it out. You know, there was no like set clearer path, you know, but now the way like the opportunities have opened up like endlessly when it comes to education, like different types of you know, paths that we could take.
Absolutely.
It's
we have the ability now to do those things.
Yeah.
So this is a good segue into like really the first question of the Follow the Winners. I like to ask everybody what success means to them. I know everybody has kind of like a different definition of it. So, you know, I want to ask everybody. So what's your definition of success?
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I think on a broad spectrum, I think somebody needs to be able to feel happy and, like, you know, positive throughout their day. Wake up, you know, the day may go haywire, but if you can wake up, like, you know, being like happy to wake up, and you can go to bed being happy to go to bed, I think that's the broad spectrum. But on a personal, honestly, I'm very like process oriented and like very like detailed. So I know exactly how I define it. It's almost like a metric. I have something called like my 5 buckets. And I know that if I'm like, I literally picture like buckets. And if I'm putting, you know, effort or water into these buckets at all times, and I just kind of like cross check, like it's not like I write it down. I just kind of mentally, I'm like, all right, have I been doing this bucket? Have I been doing this bucket? So I'll tell you what those are. So I got to make sure I get them right too. In no particular order, one of my buckets is health, you know, working on my own health. So in terms of like diet, eating right, you know, sports, you know, I play a lot of sports, working out, just taking care of my body overall, mental health included. That's one bucket. So as long as I'm taking care of that, I know that. So the way I define success is if I can like cross-check myself and feel good about these 5 buckets, then I'm being successful right now, you know? And so the next bucket would be, you know, keeping up with family, you know, as long as like I like to stay in touch. I have a lot of family, and pretty much every time I'm on the road, I'm trying to call somebody, you know, whether it's a friend or family. I call you when I'm on the road too, just to say what's up. I'm always making phone calls on the road. I love staying in touch with family and like trying to listen, you know, especially to my younger cousins, because like, you know, my older cousins did that for me, and you know, my older sibling did that for me. So it's like the younger people in the family, I try and be there the most for them. You know, the older people, always nice to stay in touch and check in, making sure they're good. But I always call my younger friends and my cousins, and like I feel like they appreciate it a lot. You know, they really like glow up whenever they hear me. So that's nice.
Well, it's nice to be cared for.
Yeah,
on any
totally.
level.
Another one of my buckets is like kind of a long answer, but
it's okay.
Is, you know, professional, you know, whether it's school, work, side hustles, investments, just that whole department, making money like that. That professional career of mine is something I'm always like, just professional development. If I'm not doing something new out of my comfort zone, something like this, like often, then I'm not happy. Like I'm not feeling good. Like I know there's so much that I can't get to everything. There's so much to do in this world, but if I can do a lot, I'd be interested, and that's what I aim to do.
Hell yeah.
Another bucket of mine is the social bucket.
Okay.
We've met in a lot of different places. Like, I like to have fun.
Yeah.
I never want to let that go.
Well, first place I met you, man, was one of the craziest things I've ever done.
Wait, don't say it on the mic. Where was it though? Oh, was it the plunge?
Yeah, the polar plunge.
Good. Yeah, the polar plunge.
Yeah, we're nothing crazy.
A charity event, everybody. That's where it was.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, the polar plunge. It was the first time I
That
met you.
was sick.
And
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
like, I'm out of my damn mind to do this right now.
Yep. And that's my second time now too. Yeah, dude. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like getting out there, doing something exciting and different.
Yeah.
Meeting new people. Huga's been a huge, seriously, Huga, and this is a big plug-in, but it's been such an impact on my life from a social and professional perspective.
Yeah.
The last 2 years. I just had my 2-year anniversary thing with them, and it's been great. So definitely. That's been helping me be more successful, straight up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm feeding that bucket a lot with Huga, more so than I was before, and I'm happier for it.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy there.
It's nice to keep yourself busy, though, right?
Yeah.
Was that 5 buckets?
I think I got one more.
Yeah.
The last one, the biggest one, is the spiritual bucket, my friend.
Cool. I love that.
Honestly, it's not just, being a perfect Muslim. It's about, doing the right thing, good karma every day, learning more about my religion. I love that. Learning about other religions too, finding those commonalities. When I find the commonalities between different religions, I feel very more connected with more people.
Yeah.
Because when someone's the same religion, you feel like they're your brother. You know what I mean? Brother or sister. And then when you realize that, okay, a lot of religions are very unique, are very obviously unique, but also very similar, you feel connected with more people, So it's like, I love meeting spiritual people. You could just tell they put out good energy. I'll share actually a quote that I just heard at a mosque lecture a couple of days ago, and I think this is just beyond, it's so perfect. It says that in life, there's only 2 days in this world. There is the day that is for you and the day that is against you. The day that is for you, don't be boastful and be proud and walk around like, you did everything right. And the day that is against you, don't lose hope, don't fall into a depression, don't start to blame and hate God or anything like that. You just have to keep it moving because you're going to have both, And some now, ever since I heard that, it was only 4 days ago, but I'm like, okay, today was the day. So far they've all been for me the last 3 days, but I know that something's going to, shit's going to hit the fan. I'm going to have one of those days, and you're just like, okay, day's not for me. But as life goes up and down, I think, having all these buckets, especially the spirituality bucket, you should be able to stay calm. You should be able to be grateful and happy with, your materials, and what you possess shouldn't own you. You should own them.
100%. Man.
And so that's the spirituality bucket, and
super important.
It's it kind of all comes together. I don't know when I came up with this, but ever since I thought of it, I wrote it down, and I was like, I got to stick with this.
Yeah.
It's been.
I thought you were talking with Roy Peter because he told me to write down some buckets.
Yeah.
But as far as the spirituality goes, I've definitely said this on this podcast before. I don't care what religion people are. I just think that they need to find something. You gotta find something, because I think it's so important to get to a quiet space. And my mom used to tell me growing up, because my grandparents, very, very religious, down your throat, Jesus, everything. They'd be feeding you Eucharist the second you walk in, you'd be getting the little bread. I'm joking, but that's how my grandparents were. But my mom never really pushed it on us. Yeah, we went to religion as kids and stuff like that. But she always kind of just led to the point that it's super important to just have something, whatever that's gonna be. And I truly think that it's important. Yeah, it also gives you that purpose, gives you the definition of life per se. I'm 28, I'm still trying to figure out really what the heck does life mean? I can read Bibles and listen to people all day long and tell me you have to find your purpose and this, that, and whatever. But some days you're just like, what am I even here? Like, what is this? Like, what is real, you know? And it can start getting super weird and confusing. And
Yeah.
so it is nice to be able to have like a kind of like a ground point that you can return to and go back to and have that. So
Absolutely, man.
I love
Absolutely.
that, dude. You had like the most elaborate success answer that we've gotten so far.
I'm glad.
So to just jump into, like, you got the shirt on, so I'm sure people are probably thinking, like, what do you do? I like to ask everybody about their business, but I also like to ask, it's like a two-part question. So tell me about your business because I want to know more. But I also want to know, like, why do you do it? Like, the actual question is, what makes you tick? Like, why do you wake up in the morning and be like, I'm gonna go do this? You know?
Yeah.
What's your business and why do you do it?
Gotcha. I mean, I will say that my tick is not necessarily my industry. My tick is building something beautiful that I could be proud of, that I know was built strong, and that like I can really take ownership of. Like I guess I just want something that's like, it's almost like a project. You know, what makes me tick is my project of building something nice. And it's like, who gave me this project? I gave it to myself. And it's like, it's going to be one of my biggest projects.
Yeah.
You know? So that's really what makes me tick, like figuring it out. It's obviously can be tough at times, but it's like, you know, not running away, not going to pick up another job, or not, you know, like being there and working with my project till like, you know, it's never going to be done until it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
That's really what makes me tick.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, like 3 years ago, my best friend Joseph Kessler and we decided to start what started out as a security company now has expanded to being a low voltage full service integration company.
Cool.
You know, we had our experience, and we've gone through a lot in 3 years, which is funny because there's such a long way to go.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we provide low voltage systems in commercial buildings and residential homes. We, all this stuff includes security camera systems, access control systems, intercoms, anything with your network. We do a lot of AV, so we do home theaters, we do projector setups, media displays, conference rooms is a big thing, cabling. You know, we're a technology consultant for all these different types of systems.
Yeah.
We have our strong points. Across the board here. If something's not in my wheelhouse, I don't really try and like, hey, let me take this on. You know, like I have a lot of like different partners in construction, electricians, interior designers, furniture people. Like, you know, I have a team and resources, so I try and stick to what we're best at.
Yeah.
And it's been an amazing ride. You know, it's started out working out of Joe's garage in my basement, you know, literally just meeting off like my laptop and just trying to figure things out. Some of the key things in the beginning getting started were I was a student at Stony Brook at the time. So I had presented this.
What was your degree in?
Business.
Okay.
Literally, and I think that definitely correlates. I majored in business management and operations. I had a minor in entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And so all the classes, all the people I interacted with were like all like-minded in that sense.
Yeah.
And that's where I was going with that. I was like, you know, my last 2 years at Stony Brook, especially the last year where I got my MBA, like all the MBA classes, I don't think I would have started the company without that inspiration from like the professors, you know, just showing me like example after example of how people like have been, you know, innovators and changed so much, you know, studied all like the big name companies, Facebook, Amazon, but like so many other ones that like I can't remember right now, but like people that made huge impacts just by like, you know, being innovators, and how like actually I remember one class in particular where he was like, you know, the first businessman was a caveman. You know, like he started innovating one thing after the other. And he took us from caveman to like Jeff Bezos in terms of eras of innovators. And he was like, right now, there's like a bigger picture of innovation that you guys like you need to understand and should be a part of.
Yeah.
And so that really inspired me.
Yeah.
And so, but it's funny because there was a time I went through a period where I actually was anti-small business owner, like because I'd seen some challenges that my dad faced in business over the years. And I was like, you know, like certain things, there's like some cons maybe that I'm experiencing as being a business owner is like health insurance, right? It's nice when you have benefits from a company. Most people have that. Then you're on your own when you have your own business, you know, and you have to figure a lot of things out like that are just like, you know, taxes is different for you. This is different for you. You know, all of your special cases. So I was anti-business owner for a bit, and I went to work for a corporate company, and I enjoyed it, and I was crushing it, and I was moving up fast. And I was like, these guys, they don't value me for like really what I bring to the table. And like, I just get thrown in like just a number, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, I'm coming here giving like my heart to work every day, passionate as hell. And like, it's not really going to make a difference. And nothing against that company. They're great. It's just kind of like the way it is. You know, when there's like hundreds and thousands of people working, and this is a big company, like, you know, what can you do? Like, you know, there's a lot of things going on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you're not in charge. You can be replaced. And, you know, above and beyond it's all like, you just got to drink the Kool-Aid in the corporate world a little bit.
Absolutely.
So
Which can be scary.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful about drinking the Kool-Aid.
I drank it.
I mean, a lot of people do. I drank the Kool-Aid on a company, you know, and you're just like, before you know it, you're like telling people to go piss off just to show up to work, you know, and you're like, you're people you love. You're like, what the heck? Yeah, you gotta be careful with that.
Yeah. So once we started up, the way, you know, how I said we started in the security space, the first thing would start happening. I'll give a quick shout out to one of our first customers, Gina Torregrossa and Joe Torregrossa. Joe actually passed away this past year, so rest in peace, Joseph Torregrossa. He's our first customer, really gave us our start. Excellent man. And you know, we did a camera system, and then we started getting a lot of opportunities for speaker systems and mount my TV. And so then we, you know, took some courses and kind of got our bearings for like AV work and kind of have worked that up. And then during COVID, AV work was like crazy, and security work, you know, so we do a lot of different things. Right now we're heavy on the commercial side, a lot of new developments, a lot of existing properties, service and maintenance contracts. So much is going on. Sometimes I'm in over my head, but that's, you know, you got to run. You know, the business is like a snowball. It just goes. It has its mind of its own, its energy of its own, and it's going to grow. And you
just gotta fuel. I look at it as a machine, you know.
Yeah, it is a machine.
Fuel the machine, and if clients is your fuel, then you just gotta keep it. And then your infrastructure is, you know, the engine, and then you have like, you know, managers, it's just your oil, which keeps everything together. You know what I mean? And without the oil, it's like poof, the engine explodes. You know. Yeah. And without gasoline, the engine shuts off. So it's like, yeah, man, I love it.
Yeah, it's good.
So you've really been kind of getting all around, though. You're doing a bunch of different things. I didn't know that you were even doing like office spaces and things like that. I mean, that's sick. Even like a space like this, I'm sure people would probably ask you to do like a studio space.
Absolutely.
You know?
This whole building, man. Like literally, if this was a new construction building, I could work with the developer and, you know, take it from concrete to completion. Like literally. Like, it's pretty amazing. And I like I said, I give a lot of credit to the team. Like Joe is a super tech. He's the man. He's the most friendliest, funniest, awesome, rock solid guy I know. And, you know, it's really cool. You know, we've known each other since we were 11 years old.
That's awesome, man.
So, you know, it's nice to be in business with like my brother.
I just watched the Wham documentary.
What's that?
The band Wham.
Okay.
You know the song, the Christmas song. This Christmas, I gave you.
Wham. Okay, now I can picture it on my Apple Music.
Everybody knows the song. Yeah, they have a documentary, and it's the same thing. The guys met when they were like 7 or 8 or 9 years old or something like that, and like went all the way through and became super successful. And like I am so jealous of that, man. I wish I had like a, you know, like I've been trying to get everyone in my family like, come on, hop on board. I got something good here, you know. But you know, as that saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it, you know? Yeah,
I mean, maybe your path is to be solo, and then you never know.
Maybe, man.
You know, you never know. You're networking a lot. Like, you know, I always, and actually, I got a question for you. You know, people like, you make your really close friends when you're young, per se, or like high school, college. Yeah. But then when you're an adult, you know, you have the opportunity to still meet. Maybe you haven't even met the best friend of your life yet. You know?
100%.
You know, you haven't met, like, you know, there's so many people, you know, to know. 100%. So, you know, you never know.
You really never know. I mean, me and my girlfriend literally went to the same high school and only met 2.5 years ago.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know. Yeah, she was a couple years younger than me, but like, I don't know. We didn't know each other, you know?
Nice.
But yeah, it's, we basically started this off, man. Like, I've ditched so many friends over this past couple years that have just been not good for me, told me I couldn't do stuff. And considering I didn't listen to them, I can, turn around and be like, I'm so happy I didn't listen to them because look at where I am now,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, yeah, I mean, I love all of that. Everything that you're saying so far, man, has just been, like, really, really good, refreshing. And I'm happy that
I appreciate it.
I've only had a handful of young people on here so far, maybe like 2 or 3. I think you would be the third, actually. And that's really the demographic I want to go after as much as possible is young people, because I feel like today that a lot of people are afraid to follow their dreams, or even just find something that they're passionate about and then understand that, like, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this to the point that it'll get me to that next level. Like, whatever that is, like, just do the shit out of something, find your passion and then just, like, jump in head first. And that's advice I wish someone told me when I was like 20 years old or 19 years old, and it was just like, hey, like, just do the fuck out of this and you'll see the results from it. Like, it will pay off big time, but obviously calculate it. Know you're in the right place. Know that you're being valued by the people you work with. If you're not, then, like, that's probably not the place to dive deep into, You want to know that you are valued by the people you work with. So, like, all that's true. Super, super good. I like to ask people about, it is the Follow the Winners podcast, so I like to ask people about winning. This can literally go for anything in life, but I just asked this question just because it's a little bit fun. But have you ever won at anything in life? It could be like sports related, school related. It could be something that happened yesterday. Anything. Have you ever won at anything in life?
Dude, the biggest win I think I've had in my life is meeting my fiance.
I met her. Very nice lady.
Yeah, you've met Fatima.
Yeah.
You can't get a better win than that. I think she's the most amazing girl.
Nice.
That's why I'm marrying her. And I think, like, that's just, like, I would sacrifice every other win or award or anything else. Like, if I could have her, like, I'll be all right.
That's awesome.
So 100%, that's the biggest win. And that
is awesome.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
But I say that to anybody. I think I think everybody deserves to find true love. I think it's super important. It's good.
I love you, Fatima. just because she'll be like.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, man, like, you gotta find that. You gotta have people in your life that that you love, that love you back, that have your back no matter what. Especially like a girlfriend, boyfriend, like they have your, like, they have your back.
Man.
You know what I mean? Like, your mom does and so on, but, like, I don't know, it's
this
just a whole
chose,
different. They chose to wake up in the morning and, like, be next to you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's
you feel so lucky. I'm like, some days,
Totally.
it's like when I'm, like, if I'm having a busy day and, like, you're just like, sometimes you're just like, how did I get so lucky? And that's why it feels like a win. It's like, all right, like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, person's always wants to be there for you, and you want to be there for them.
I know the feeling, man.
Yeah,
I tell my girlfriend all the time that I manifested her. I believe that I really, really thought about the person that I wanted in my life, and then I met her, and I was like, and we went to the same high school. Like, that's crazy.
That is really sweet. That's nice.
But yeah, it's really, really important to have those, that backbone, people that look out for you on a different level than family. Yeah. I think that you said the key word, people that choose to do it, because friends sometimes, they're your friends and they'll be there for you. But sometimes when, like, push comes to shove, it's like, oh, I got something going on. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool.
Absolutely.
So I love that. I really do. I like to ask people, just jumping into the next question, about core values and cultural beliefs. So you might have an interesting answer to this question, maybe not, but I ask people this question in the sense of, like, growing up, I was always told that money is kind of hard to obtain, that it doesn't grow on trees, and that, we had to struggle and this, that, and whatever. I don't have to go into detail because I've done it, like, several times on this podcast, but, like, that's basically the cultural belief that was given to me growing up. I did have a grandfather who was somewhat successful, and I always saw that, and I was like, well, he worked really hard and he did pretty well for himself. So I've had to do this over the past 4 or 5 years, really change my mentality on finances and how I obtain money and how I think about it and how I spend it and all these things. I really had to, like, change my mentality. Now, this doesn't have to be financially for you, but was there something, maybe either growing, I mean, you're not much younger than I am, so, like, in your lifespan, is there something that maybe was, like, pushed on you from a cultural standpoint that you had to, like, kind of, like, retrain yourself to be like, yeah, no, that's probably not the right way to think that.
Yeah, I think honestly, I mean, I'm just gonna go with the first thing that comes to mind
Yeah.
is like, I like paying people to do stuff for me, and I like paying them well for it. I think, no offense to anybody, but like, I think like culturally, I'm just gonna freaking say it because it's a podcast. You know what? Indian people are known for being cheap. You know, like it's just like a thing. You know, they're always trying to get some shortcut,
Yeah.
trying to piece this guy together, this guy, oh, you know, like, and I'm just like, you know what? I've come from an Indian background, but like even before I started my business, like I just think quality first.
Yeah.
You know, even when I'm telling you, like even since I was a kid, like I always like sometimes, you know, you got to be careful. You got to get estimates and shit, or you know,
100%.
shop around. Don't just buy.
Yeah.
But like, you know, for the most part, it's like if I ask for something and then somebody comes back to me and says, here it is and this is the price, I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? Like I got other things to do. Like let's just get this done.
100%.
So I think that's something that like, you know, sometimes like, and even in the last like 3 to 5 years, like I'll tell my dad, like, oh, Dad, I just got this and this is how much it was. He's like, what? You know, like, didn't you call this guy? Or didn't you call this guy? Or he does this on the weekends? Or, you know, I got a friend. Or I have a used one. I'm just like I wanted it this way. So I got it this way, Dad. You know, like, yes, it was more money, but I'm proud because, you know, and sometimes it bites me in the ass. Sometimes it works out, you know? I mean, and that's, you know, that's one thing, you know, like you said, it's financially, it's culturally, but at the end of the day, it's like if it's your money, you can do what you want with it.
100%.
And, you know, till today, like, you know, I hire a lot of people for business to work with me. And, you know, it's important to like, you know, value people that are going to do something for you, whether you're buying like, you know, something from a restaurant, you know, like don't bark at the prices is like, it's good food. You know what I mean? Like, you know what it costs to exist in a restaurant. So yeah, that's just one thing that
I love that.
I've like, you know, I like to respect people for their jobs and, you know,
Yeah.
and I think it comes back around.
Your dad sounds like my grandfather, though.
Yeah.
I swear, because my grandfather's the
Sorry,
same
Pops.
way. Like he's literally just like kills me sometimes. Like we just had to get the dryer vent, you know, fixed at our house. And you know, it was like whatever, $1,800. I ended up negotiating with the guy because my grandfather was enforcing me to negotiate.
Yeah,
with the
like
guy.
negotiating.
So I'm like,
you know, it's like, come
all
on.
right.
Man.
Like I don't want to. I just want the thing fixed. I was like, it's a fire hazard because it's broken.
Yeah.
Like money and safety are not on the same level playing field for me. I just want to be safe. Like whatever the cost is,
Yeah.
just make it safe. You
There's
know?
a balance. Joe would be like, yo, save money, you know? Like, he's like, yeah, but there's always a balance, you know? You got to know, like, it's a tough balance too, man.
Absolutely.
Honestly, sometimes, you know, all the time I make the wrong decision, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes, or, you know, anything, you know, big purchases, you got to be super careful, like buying a car, getting a house,
Yeah.
You know, making a big contract or investment, that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, you're right though. There are small stuff though that I mean, look, you could sit there, you can negotiate, find your, you know, your cousin's brother, sister that can help you out and get you the deal on it. It's like, yeah, or I could just go to, you know, the store right now and buy it
exactly.
and not have to ask anybody for help, you know? Like even just this past week, my girlfriend's dad, we had to get brakes done on her car. I'm like, it's a Honda Accord. How expensive could the brakes be or whatever? He's like, oh, I got a guy in Queens. You can bring it to his house. We live in Massapequa. I'm like, bro, I got to drive a half an hour just to get the brakes done.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass 50 gas stations on the way there that do brakes, you know? Whatever, to save a couple bucks.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is, man. Like, everybody has, like, kind of their own way of doing things and going about it.
Absolutely.
And, you know, but that's actually, like, a really good answer because it's different than really what I thought about. But it's, you know, it's one of those things that, like, kind of gets pressed upon you growing up, and then you get to decide as you grow up, like, am I going to still use these same cultural values and, like, core beliefs, or am I going to do something different? And, like, we have a saying on my mom's side of the family, my grandfather, he says, and my grandfather that passed away a few years ago, but he used to say, that's what money's for, which in situations like the brakes or the, you know, something's wrong in your house or whatever, like, that's literally what money's for. When shit breaks, it's like, well, that's what the money's for. You know, like you could kick and scream all you want about it, but that's what it's for. So I like to always kind of tell myself that.
Another thing on the more positive side with culture, two things that I could say that I was taught that I hold on to very much is one, you should be in business for yourself, and B or two. You know, the way to operate, like a lot of people in my culture, they connect business and religion a lot. You know, they like, if you are So like from this perspective, okay, if you're your own boss, right? You have your own company. You have the opportunity to make all the rules. So you should be good to your employees. You should pay your employees well. You should, build a strong culture. You should always do the right thing. You should not get greedy. Every job should be like done well so that that's quality work. So it's almost like, and that really helps actually. And I've met a lot of business owners that have that mindset where it's like you have to be proud of what you're doing, and you connect that kind of with like your religious conscience that like, as a professional, I have established this, and from A to Z, it's ethical. We're doing the right thing. People are happy. Like I'm providing food for families through these employees, giving them, maybe higher pay than, what the average is, things like that.
Morals, really.
Yeah, man. So that's something that I love too. Like, going back to what makes me tick, like the ability to achieve that, we're a small team right now of 4. When I look at that team, I'm like, hey, you know what? So far, I've achieved that. I'm doing that. You know what I mean? We have good relationships. We sit down, we have dinner together. Like we buy lunch, like all these different things to take care of the team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And take care of our clients, of course.
Yeah. But you have to, the machine, man, that's it. You got to keep it all kind of flowing together and working hard. So
many entrepreneurs in my family, you know what I mean? That helped help steer me.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Like my grandfather both my grandfathers worked for themselves, and like I think that has a big reason why I'm kind of doing what I'm doing now.
Very nice.
We've really touched on this already, but I'm gonna ask you how you use this. So I ask everybody about spirituality. We know at this point, that you are spiritual and that you're active in your community and so on, which is awesome. But like on a day-to-day, for me, spirituality got me out of the shittiest part of my life. And it allowed me to like open up my mind and be like, there's a lot more here that I need to like kind of look at. And I still am. Like every week I can learn something new, just being like, wow, I never even thought of life this way. But is there like something maybe on like a week or daily basis that you use with spirituality that helps you kind of like progress and move forward in life?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, there's a bunch of things that come to mind.
It doesn't have to be like praying though. It could be like meditating. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, so there's this short period in my day, or most of my days, where I'm driving to the gym. When it's like dark outside. I go to the gym. I try and get there by 5:30
in the morning.
Damn. My rule is that like the first thing I do is I stretch. So it's like I want to be on that mat. I want to be able to look over my phone, and it's got to be 5:30 or earlier. That's my time. So, but on that drive to the gym, which is about 9 minutes from my house, I recite a prayer, like I just kind of like talk to God, and I remind myself of like I out loud like say everything that I'm kind of grateful for, things I pray for people, pray for myself, and just ask for forgiveness for anything that I'm like not so proud of.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's constant reflection basically, whether it's in that form or in bed at night or, in conversation, like this is reflection.
Yeah.
I think that always, you can't just have your head down, you have to pick your head up and like know what's going on, have control of your life, and like, understand, listen and get other perspectives so that you can progress, like don't reinvent the wheel per se. There's a lot of people out there that are going to be experienced and can give you sound advice. They have been through some of the things that you've been through. So it's like, why not open up?
Yeah.
And then another thing I like to remind myself of is like, kind of like life is temporary, never ever getting like overly attached. Like, it sounds like dark, but any of us could die at any point.
Yeah.
And like, as you get older, your earlier life, when you're 10, by the time you're 50, you don't remember what went on when you were 10 or even 20. It just evaporates.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I remind myself very, very often that like, the problems I face on the day-to-day, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Everything will just,
like,
every problem, every time that I've been like trying to explode with anger or fear, haven't I gotten past that?
Yeah.
Hasn't everyone else also, for the most part, it kind of works itself out?
100%.
So that reflection, really, like you said, what is life? I think it's a test to do the right thing here and like kind of just not get too attached to it, understand that it just moves on.
I'm thinking of that saying, like, whatever happened now, whatever, if it doesn't matter in 5 minutes, or 5. What is the saying? It's like if it doesn't matter in 5 minutes, then it doesn't matter in 5 years or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's like just don't waste time on the small stuff. So I mean, it's great. You're a beast, man. 5:30. What time are you going to sleep to wake up that early?
Yo, it's the bedtime is the crucial thing.
Yeah.
So my bedtime, the same thing. I like to be in my bed between 9:30 and 10 p.m.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I can't do that. I have to be. The latest I'm sleeping is 12 o'clock, but every night midnight, and then I'm usually up by like 7, and I'm like, fuck my life.
I hear that. No, it's tough. I mean, it's not. I try most days. It's just like, I mean, it just works out. Like it started off with schedule. I was like, I hate going to the gym after work because it's so crowded, and I spend double the time there just because it's slower.
Yeah.
So that's what like got me initiated, and then it's just now I found like so many benefits to it. Like that's when I added in that little morning prayer on that drive.
Yeah.
Now sometimes reading in the morning, sometimes journaling in the morning, sometimes making myself a nice little breakfast in the morning. Like sometimes I wake up and I'm like, you know what, not today, no gym, but I'll be up and I'll start work early, or I'll take my time with breakfast, or drop my sister to school.
That's the benefit of being a business owner, being able to have those nice chill mornings. I was actually talking to a buddy of mine, and he was saying that. He's like, yeah, man, I don't start my day till 10 o'clock. And he's like, and I wake up at 8, take the first 2 hours to chill. He's like, I don't even touch my phone for the first hour every morning. And I was like, damn, that's pretty good. But it's nice to be able to do that. If you can, not everybody can do that, but if you can do it, it's definitely really nice to wake up that way. It's a very easy and less stressful way to go about your day. So to just jump to the opposite side of like spirituality and the positive end of things, the opposite end, fear. So I just like asking everybody about this. I tend to be fearful because I'm just a new business owner, and like anything can happen. And some days it's like, this is the best day ever, like you were saying, and other days you're like, this is not my day, you know? But how do you do anything to deal with fear? Is there any tricks that you've used that have helped you kind of get to this point?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. Fear is a tricky thing. Sometimes sometimes, and this is definitely true for me, is sometimes you're experiencing fear and you don't realize it. It's like subconsciously you're scared. And I think one of the best ways for me to get over it, to be honest with you, is talking it out with people that I trust, like close people, letting them know like, yo, this is where I'm at. You gotta like. Sometimes I preface it. I'm like, yo, I gotta like share this with you right now, and get their attention and just talk it out and get some advice. Fear, though, I guess also reminding yourself, like, once you overcome it 1 or 2 times in a couple of situations, you gotta just believe in yourself. You gotta know that, hey, I've done this before. It's just your own experiences could probably teach you, or not you, but anybody, like more than what they realize. You know what I mean? Like, and then that goes back to the reflection. But yeah, man, I definitely, everyone experiences fear sometimes, and other ways, I think my mom might be one of the, like if I really can't get over something, I take it to the big boss, my mom, and she'll talk me through it. Yeah.
I'm right there with you, either that, my grandfather's a big person in my life that I can go to.
Yeah.
And he'll kind of talk me off the tree kind of thing, like, get down from there. It's not that high up. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, man. You need it, and especially the entrepreneurship like journey. You're gonna need people that like to tell you this basically straight up. Jawad, you're in a very difficult place right now. It's probably you're gonna be here for another couple of days, but I'll see you on the other side. Okay, just hang in there. See you on Friday. You know, and then like when you link up with them again, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I don't know what was with me last week. Like I was stressed.
Yeah.
So you get those moments, but handling it more and more as you get older and more experienced, I think that's the best part.
Yeah.
I think careers and work, I think it gets easier because you get better at it. You get more used to it. So when you stay in one spot and you're just like, everything starts to become a little bit smoother.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that. And I do like what you said, kind of knowing like what's gone on in your past kind of gives you the answers on the current fear that you're going with. Because I can relate to that on like almost a daily basis where I stress out about stuff and I'm just like, I've gone through this already. Why am I stressing about this right now? But it's with a different client. It's the same scenario, just different person at a different time, So it feels fresh, but it's not. It's the same shit. So like, I love that, man. I really do.
The only thing that I actually was like premeditated, the one thing I knew I wanted to say today was this, and it's related to fear, is like I think maybe one of the the most important things that I try to do for myself, and I could maybe advise, is like, don't BS yourself. Like, just, I think that's people's problem half the time, is you're
100%.
freaking not even being honest with your own self.
Trust yourself.
You know, like, when it comes to like fear of something, or, you know, like you need to, or like for example, fear, right? This is where I was going with that. So how much content on there right now is there online that says, you know, don't be afraid? There's so much free resources to get over stuff. Like, don't give yourself an excuse that, oh, I'm stuck here, or I can't move forward. Like, are you really utilizing what's out there, or are you just like whining and complaining?
Yeah.
And I mean, hey, I do it too sometimes. You know, it's
Absolutely.
everybody does and has those moments. But I think when I'm like when it comes to like for not going to the gym, I was like, well, is there another time I can go to the gym? Yeah. Is 5:30 out of the question? First, you might say, yeah, it's out of the question. Why do I want to wake up at 5 a.m.? But when you just stop like putting restrictions on things and just be like real and be like, if I want to get this done, like, and nothing's gonna stop me, can I get it done?
Yeah.
And a lot of times you can't.
Yeah.
So I think just being honest with yourself about like,
100%.
you know, yeah, like, you know this too. Being a business owner, one of the toughest parts is being your own boss in terms of discipline, right? It's easy to go to the beach every day right now because no one's gonna call you up and say, yo, where are you? But if you don't do that, your business is gonna fall apart.
100%. I wish I could just go to the beach every day. I'm dying. But I hear you. And I was listening to somebody super recent, and they said something very similar about kind of just like, and I've said this, I have videos that are like a couple years old now on YouTube of saying, just start with one thing. That's all you have to do. Just one thing. If you start with one thing, and that's how I got to my point where I am, is I start with one thing every day. I actually have it on my phone here, and I can pull it up quite quickly because I sent it to this guy, Joe. This is it. This is the background I put on my phone. It says, show up every day for 2 years. That's the golden answer right there. It will make you money. It will build an audience. It will solve most of your problems. It will develop the tenacity you need to survive. It will teach you that those who are successful aren't successful because of some condensed version of their story they gave on a podcast interview, but because they made a commitment to show up every single day when it was hard, sucked, and looked like nothing would ever come of it. But no one will tell you no one will hear this advice because show up every day for 2 years isn't microwavable. And I put that on my phone, and for 2 years I grinded. 2 years later I had an LLC, and like, nobody knows the late hours I put into any of that stuff, you know? But I think on that, like, even if it's just working out, like I was listening to somebody recently and they said that if you're going to start with that one thing, like that's all you need to consider yourself someone who works out. So for me, like I'm trying to get back into working out. I haven't worked out really much in like the past 2 months. So I'm like, shit, I really got to get back into it. So the past 2 weeks, I've just been doing just like simple stuff, pull-ups, push-ups, stretching. I have no desire to like go for a walk in the morning. It's hot, and like I normally in the past I would, but right now my motivation level is just not there. So I'm creeping my way there. But I could sit here and be like, well, yeah, I work out because I did work out this morning. Did I work out for an hour? No, I worked out for like 10 minutes. But like I still worked out.
You gotta believe,
you know?
You gotta manifest and speak what you want, and like, you know, don't doubt yourself, don't cut yourself short. Like, you know, you can say, you know, you could speak in a way of like who you are and what you're working at, and you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I feel
I'm
you
not
on that.
lying, you know what I mean? I'm telling myself this is the person that you are and this is the person that you're trying to be. So
I benched
continue to be
325,
that. I mean, yeah, look, you might be lying a little bit there, but like, but for real, you know? So
I totally hear you.
I mean, overall, this has been like really, really good. I want to ask you about if you're working on anything new, if it's in the business or personal life. That if you want to, anybody could watch this, so you never know. And if anybody's watched up until this point, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
But yeah, is there anything that you're working on that you know you want to share with the world here?
You know what? I'll almost like share this with myself. So when I come back and watch this video, it's a reminder that I put it out there. I laid my goals on the table.
I love it.
Yeah, I wanna get really good at soccer. I'm a good player now, but I want to take it to another level and keep competing with my friends in more tournaments and stuff.
Yeah.
I want to build out more service and maintenance agreements for my business. And I want to stay really tight with my little sister, who's growing up fast right before my eyes.
Yeah.
And but I want to stay tight.
That's important.
whether she likes it or not.
Yeah. No, but you can do it, man.
Yeah.
You totally can.
No,
it sounds like she totally like adores you as a big brother.
It's a sibling, love-hate thing.
Yeah, but that's good. You need that, You totally do.
Always.
That's awesome. So I mean, those are like goals and all. If anybody wanted to like work with your company,
Yeah.
where would they go if they wanted to reach out to you? And
So that's a great question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's some. I gotta plug myself in big here. These are some good wins I want to share with you. So
yeah, that's it.
Diving deeper into my business and how I want to really be the expert, I changed my
Yeah.
Instagram name to Security King NY.
I love it.
And I am the Security King of New York. I got a custom license plate,
There you
Secure
go.
NY.
There you go.
My company, Secure Tech Systems. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
Google us and hit us up. We're very approachable and we're the experts in the security industry.
Cool. So Security King, what's your website?
SecureTechSystemsUSA.com.
Okay, cool. This is all. I'll make sure to put it in the caption so that anybody watching this video can check it out. This has been like such a good podcast. I already mentioned it, but like I love having younger people on here because I don't know, it's easier to like correlate, and our brains are very similar. Like I didn't cut you off as much as I wanted to because I was like,
Sorry.
bro, like you're literally saying what I'm saying in my head right now, So
I felt the same way, dude. I felt
dude,
the same way.
awesome. This has been a lot of fun. So thanks everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Follow the Winners podcast.